I call the order of the meeting of the Verona Common Council for Monday, August 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have the roll.
Alderperson Harrison.
Present.
Alderperson Helmke.
Present.
Alderperson Hoaxed.
Present.
Alderperson Keller.
Present.
Alderperson Lytle. Here. Alderperson Swanson.
Present.
Alderperson Tucker Long.
Here.
Alderperson Weiss.
Present.
All right, that's quorum, so we can proceed. We'll move on to item 4, which is public comment. If any members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to do so. Seeing no one approaching the microphone, we'll move on to item 5, which is approve the minutes from the August 11th, 2025 Common Council meeting. Questions, comments, corrections, or motions to approve? Alder Tucker Long.
Move to approve.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Humke. Last chance for corrections to the minutes. Seeing no corrections, all those in favor of approving the minutes for the August 11th, 2025 Common Council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. I will move on to item 6, which is mayor's business. First up, we have 6A, which is the National Senior Center Month Proclamation, which I am happy to read to you now. Whereas older Americans are significant members of our society, investing their wisdom and experience to help enrich and strengthen our community, and whereas the Verona Senior Center has acted as a catalyst for mobilizing the creativity, energy, vitality, and commitment of the older residents of Verona, and whereas through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, the Verona Senior Center empowers older citizens to contribute to their own health and well-being and the health and well-being of their fellow citizens of all ages, and whereas the Verona Senior Center has been a community partner in ensuring that older adults in our community are able to stay connected, safe, and healthy, and whereas senior centers affirm the dignity, self-worth, and the independence of older persons by facilitating their decisions and actions, tapping their experiences, skills, and knowledge, and enabling their continued contributions to the community, therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Luke Diaz, do hereby proclaim September 2025 National Senior Center Month and call upon all citizens to recognize the special contributions of the Senior Center participants and the special efforts of the staff and volunteers who work every day to enhance the well-being of the older citizens of our community. And I would just like to add a thank you so much to our Senior Center staff who do so much for the community in general, and I just think things are going really well. So I'm thrilled to sign this and hand this over.
What, down in front? Yeah. I'll get flags in the background. And Holly.
I was going to be the photo taker.
Yeah, no, I got it. So we have Stephanie and Heather with us tonight, director, assistant director. And here we go. Perfect. Very good. All right, thank you so much.
Next under Mayor's business, we have 6B, which is the Building Inspector and Code Staff Appreciation Day Proclamation, which I'm also happy to read to you. Whereas building inspection and code staff are essential, not only in the industries in which they work, but to society by ensuring that buildings and infrastructure are safe for everyday use by our residents, businesses, and patrons, and whereas detailed review of building plans and the inspection processes involved to achieve compliance help institute a path that keeps projects running efficiently, and whereas building and code staff review, inspect, and enforce safe building practices in a variety of construction and critical infrastructure components, including structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and fire systems in residential and commercial buildings, and whereas Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day is intended to remind the public about the critical roles of our community's code officials are largely unknown guardians of public safety. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Luke Diaz, do hereby proclaim September 1, 2025, Building Inspector and Code Staff Appreciation Day in the City of Verona. And I'm also happy to sign and present this one. I do want to just mention to people, like, when you walk into a building, you generally feel like it's safe. And that's obviously, like, the building inspection staff has a big part in that, and I think it's really important. And the reason we don't think about it is because they do a good job. So Thank you.
And in a community like Verona, Todd has his feet up on his desk all the time. He's not busy at all. One, two, three. Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Todd.
And that concludes mayor's business. We'll move on to item 7, which is announcements. Any announcements from the council? Alder Tucker Long.
There is one staff anniversary card coming around, so make sure you sign it before you go.
Excellent, thank you. Any other announcements from the council? Seeing no hands, we will move on to item 8, which is the administrative report. Mr. Aulick.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one, the Finance Committee has started reviewing department budgets. That'll be going on for the next month or so. But other than that, I really don't have anything else, Mayor.
Any questions for Mr. Aulick? Seeing no questions, we'll move on to item 9, which is the engineer's report. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. For the Country View Road project, pond work is continuing on Phase 3. For Mark Drive reconstruction, Phase 1 construction is anticipated to start this fall. For Avalon Ridge, a grading permit was issued to the developer to start mass grading at their own risk while they finalize utility and stormwater management design. For Kettle Creek North, paving has been completed for Phase 8. For Arden Glen, Phase 3B has been mostly wrapped up. For Phase 4, underground utility construction just started last week. And the Well 5 water main connection that goes through Epic has been reviewed on the construction plan side and approved. And I know that that development agreement is on the agenda tonight. For the stormwater webpage updates, those are in process of being updated. And finally, for the illicit discharge detection and elimination, those should be taking place this week. So with that, I can take any questions.
Thank you for the report. Any questions for Ms. Fisher? Seeing no hands, we will move on to item 10. First up, we have 10A, Finance Committee. Alder Humke.
Yeah, I make a motion for payment of the bills, the amount of $889,364.30.
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Lytle. Alder Humke.
So there's 3 large payments. The first is to Bond Trust Services for the 2019 debt payment in the amount of $173,950. Second is to New Restoration and Recovery Services for clean and televised sewer lines for $73,687. And the third is to Parisi Construction LLC for the Legion Street intersection payment for $208,070.
Thank you for that explanation. Any questions or comments on the motion to pay the bills? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of paying the bills in the amount specified signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Humke.
I'd like to make a motion for the, to pass the memorandum of understanding between the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, WPPA, Lear, and the City of Verona. Yes.
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Weiss. Alder Humke.
Yeah. The Verona Area School District has asserted that it may provide an additional payment to the City of Verona to cover up to an additional $3 per hour in compensation for the SRO for hours worked as SRO if the following conditions are met. If payments are approved by the city and district and authorized and made by the district to the city, and then the city may provide the SRO additional compensation of up to $3 per hour worked as the SRO on dates designated at the sole discretion of the chief of police. And that there is no additional compensation will be provided if the city does not receive sufficient payment from the district or if the district and city do not agree on an additional compensation amount. The MOU sunsets on December 31st, 2025, which is the end of the 2023-2025 collective bargaining agreement and shall not renew unless specifically agreed to by the parties in writing.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Weiss.
What was the driver of this change?
I'm going to ask the chief of police.
Chief Dresser.
And I guess just like what, like just, this just means that the police officers, the school resource officer is going to get extra $3 when they're working at the school?
Yeah, so a little historical perspective. There were about 4 years where we did not have an officer in the school.
Okay.
And prior to that, we actually didn't have any officers that wanted to work in the school. And essentially, it was coming down to an order, and we'd have to order an officer to work in that environment, which is not ideal. So the school sweetened the pot a little bit, if you will, and offered additional compensation. So now that we are returning a school officer to the high school, they have generously agreed to continue with what they offered several years ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Alder Swanson.
I just want to clarify, so based on the wording of the second bullet point that no additional compensation will be provided, does that mean if we don't receive the full amount from the school board, then we don't pay any extra at all?
That's correct.
So if we got like
There's no-
60% for some reason, we wouldn't pass that 60% on?
There's no liability to us if
Right.
we don't receive money from the district, and we're just a pass-through.
Okay.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding between the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, WPPA Lear, and the City of Rowan regarding the additional pay for the school resource officer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Finance?
Nothing further.
All right, with that, we will move on to 10B, which is Personnel Committee. Alder Hunke.
Yes. I move to approve the amended administrative policy number 60, City of Verona social media policy.
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Humke.
Yeah, the policy has been edited to account for feedback from city staff. The policy is amended in the following ways. It clarifies that employees may share city communications on their personal accounts. It provides city social media accounts to only friend, like, follow, or otherwise connect with accounts managed by governmental agencies, partner organizations, or partner businesses. They shall not connect with accounts belonging to individual persons or politically affiliated social media accounts. This provision passed on a 2-to-1 vote. It allows authorized users to thank an individual, organization, or business for donation of time, money, goods, or services to support a mission, service, goal, or objective of the city. And the policy as amended was unanimously recommended by the Personnel Committee.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Tucker-Long.
So I was the one vote against this in the committee meeting, and I just wanted to explain why. I'm not in favor of our city social media accounts friending other accounts that are not entities within the city, just because things get hacked, things change, organizations get in trouble. It's just a lot of liability, or someone that one person thinks is an okay thing to follow, other people might not, and it just kind of gets messy, and I don't like messy. But I don't feel that it should stop the other changes that we're making to this policy, because I think staff really needs them. And I think this does a lot of good to clear things up for staff, but something to put a bug in your ear about for the future, in case we look at this policy again. I'm not super comfortable with leaving that open.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Alder Humke.
Yeah, I just want to comment that sort of the overriding change that I feel was made me very comfortable with this policy changes is that everything that happens with social media needs to be, in oh my gosh, it's on here, in mission, service, goal, or objective of the city. So if we're posting anything, it's related to the work that we're doing. And so the example that I can give was the senior center. Like, a lot of what they're doing is kind of advocating for different services that these seniors need. And without being able to like or friend some of these services, really their social media following was going to have to get archived, like completely shut down, because the work that they do is really about connecting with those services. And if they can't like them and follow them, they can't get them on their feed. So that it becomes kind of pointless. And I feel like that is what we're trying to promote, being able to serve the people that, we're trying to serve in whatever respective role that we have. And for the police, it could be like their National Night Out. They were able to promote, getting sponsors for that event, which was really great. So everybody uses their accounts in different ways, I guess, is the point. So it's very hard to come up with a policy that encompasses everything. And so I feel like we came to the best this in the best way that we could, and it's probably not perfect, but at the end of the day, I feel like this is what I'm comfortable with.
Other questions or comments? Alder Keller.
Just for the next time that you guys review this policy, maybe it's worth considering putting controls into place for, you know, what ifs, right? The reputational concerns that Alder Tucker Long has, like under what conditions might we want to go and officially unfollow? If there were things that occurred in that entity or whatever that would pose a reputational risk for the city, perhaps that's something that we could consider putting into place in the future. Just throwing it out there.
I guess I'll comment as well. I just want to say real quickly that this is going to be a dynamic and fluid situation because social media is dynamic and fluid. And I think people should just follow city accounts in general, but also as alders to follow them and see. And if you have further thoughts, they can be brought back up to Mr. Aulick and other department heads. But for the most part, like, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had any scandals around social media. So I think we're still moving in the right direction. But any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the City of Verona Administrative Policy Number 60 relating to social media signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Humke.
Yes. I move to approve amended City of Verona Administrative Policy Number 4, leave benefits for the battalion chief classification.
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Weiss. Alder Humke.
Yeah, the city's personnel policy was not formally updated to address sworn, non-represented firefighters when the Verona Fire District converted to the Verona Fire Department in 2014. Staff are recommending amendments to correct this omission. Additionally, adjustments to vacation, sick, personal, and bereavement leave policies are recommended for battalion chiefs who work 48-hour weeks. The proposed change enhances their benefits to better reflect their schedule and additional hours worked. The Personnel Committee unanimously recommended approval of the proposed changes.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the City of Verona Administrative Policy Number 4 relating to leave benefits for the battalion chief classification signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from personnel?
Nothing further.
With that, we'll move on to 10C, which is Public Safety and Welfare Committee. Alder Host.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve an application for a Class B fermented malt beverage license from 131 Horizon Drive LLC, doing business as Sleep Inn and Suites located at 131 Horizon Drive. Sunny Patel, agent, and this is contingent upon final inspection.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Harrison. Alder Host.
Thank you. The Sleep Inn and Suites, which is formerly Super 8, is requesting a license to sell fermented malt beverages. Beer will be sold at the front desk and secured outside of service hours, and staff recommend approval.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the application for a Class B fermented malt beverage license from 131 Horizon Drive LLC, doing business as Sleep Inn and Suites located at 131 Horizon Drive, Sunny Patel, agent, with the contingency specified, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Host.
Thanks. Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve a temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B wine application and special event permit application from Lee Jordan, Verona Area Chamber of Commerce for Fall Fest on Friday, September 26, 2025.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Harrison, I believe. Alder Host.
Thank you. Activities include hay rides, pumpkin painting, petting zoo, outdoor movie, beanbag toss, and a farmer's market. There will be several food truck vendors. The chamber will be selling beer and wine. Customers will have their IDs checked and be required to wear wristbands. They will be able to consume alcohol within the entire event, so there will not be a fence for the beer tent. Staff recommend approval with the following contingencies. Fire department to approve the fire pits, receipt of certificate of insurance, and a new one for this year is a police officer being assigned to the event from 4 to 8 p.m. And that was just requested by the police department just due to the sheer number of people that are there for public safety.
And the contingencies were part of the motion?
Correct.
And that was the second's understanding as well. Alder Harrison? Okay. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Tucker Long.
I have a question on the approval of the fire pits. Is this happening at Century School Park? Or where are up here at the festival grounds?
Correct.
Behind us, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so where are they doing fire pits? Are they bringing them in, or are there okay. I didn't think we had fire pits up there already, and I was
No,
just
so I think they have some hay bales. I think there's a drawing that was maybe in the packet?
On page 119.
Okay. So they do they'll set up some straw hay bales, I think, and then they build, or not build, but they bring in fire pits and set them there. So they've done this for the last 5, 6 years, maybe.
I remember it being every year, like when they were at Veterans, that they had
Right.
fire pits.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the temporary Class B fermented malt beverage, Class B wine application, and special event permit application from Lee Jordan, Verona Area Chamber of Commerce for the Fall Fest on Friday, September 26, 2025, with contingency specified, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from public safety?
Nothing further, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. We will move on to 10D, which is Public Works, Sewer, and Water Committee. Alder Tucker Long.
Thank you. I move to approve the Ardent Glen Water Main Public Improvements Agreement subject to final review and approval by the city administrator and city attorney.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Keller. Alder Tucker Long.
As part of ongoing instruction at Ardent Glen, the developer must install a water loop which shall be constructed on or before the time that 100 single-family residential lots and twin homes have been issued occupancy permits. As part of the agreement, the following provisions apply. The developer will build about 2,675 feet of 12 and 16-inch water main connecting to City Well Number 5. The developer funds all design and construction, must complete the work within 18 months, and will provide a surety bond 120% of the project cost to guarantee completion. The city will have oversight through plan approvals and inspections. Upon acceptance, the city will reimburse the developer for a portion of the construction cost, and the facilities will be dedicated to the city and guaranteed by the developer for 1 year after acceptance. The agreement includes insurance, indemnification, and default provisions to protect the city. Both parties negotiated the agreement in good faith, and staff recommend approval.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the Ardent Glen Water Main Public Improvements Agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Public Works? Excellent. With that, we will move on to item 11, which is new business. First up, we have 11A, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the development agreement for the Cascade Project. Mr. Olick.
Thank you, Mayor. Included in the packet is a proposed development agreement for the Cascade development, following the city's standard public improvements agreement format. Staff is recommending one substantive modification for council approval. The developer would agree to execute a temporary limited easement if the city pursues construction of a multi-use path along the south side of County Highway PD adjacent to the development. The easement would be granted to the city at no cost. In exchange, if the path is constructed, the developer's property would be exempt from any associated costs.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Alder Tucker Long.
What would be the associated costs that they're being exempted from?
Mr. Olick. Mr. Kleinmeyer.
I would say it's difficult at this time to identify, because one of the reasons we've approached it this way is we have no idea, and there's a definite possibility that a path may never get constructed there. That being said, we kind of did the same thing with the SSM agreement that the council approved a couple of months ago, where essentially they agreed to dedicate land to us. And should be clear that as part of the plat approval process associated with this development that occurred a number of months back, we already have the right-of-way that we need if we want to put the path in there. So we don't have to worry about the right-of-way. But if we're going to do it, we necessarily need to be able to go a little bit onto the developer's property with the easement. And so I think at a staff level, when you consider the fact that it's, first of all, it's unknown whether or not the path will ever be constructed, which unfortunately then we can't identify the costs because it could happen 20 years from now. We've effectively cut the same deal that we did with SSM. So at least we wouldn't have to pay to acquire any rights to build the path in the future.
So what we're exempting them from is just the cost of building the path?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments, or motions? Alder Tucker Long.
All right. I move to approve the development agreement for Cascade Project contingent on the final approval by the city attorney and the city administrator.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Humke. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion. Oh, Alder Tucker Long.
Do we need to include in the motion the substantive modification that staff is recommending?
Mr.
Or is that
Fleming?
already included?
So I think we definitely wanted to make you aware of the fact that we were going to make that change if you had any concerns with it, but based on the motion that you made.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Last chance for questions or comments. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the development agreement for the Cascade Project with the contingency specified, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we move on to item 12, which is old business. First up, we have 12A, which is the discussion and possible action regarding the development agreement with the Argus Apartments Affordable Housing Project. Do we have anything, Mr. Kleinmeyer, for open session?
I would say no. We have, I think, introduced this in open session at 2 meetings, but I don't think we would have anything in addition to what we said previously.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council for open session? I didn't think so, but I wanted to ask just in case someone did. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session if someone would like to make it. Alder Swanson.
I move into closed session, as the common council may convene in a closed session as authorized by Wisconsin statute 19.85, subsection 1, subsection E, for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons deem a closed session necessary. The common council may reconvene in an open session to discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in the closed session.
Motion by Alder Swanson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Keller. This is, of course, a roll call vote. If Clerk Leek would be so kind as to read the roll.
Alderperson Harrison.
Aye.
Alderperson Helmke.
Aye.
Alderperson Hoaxed.
Aye.
Alderperson Keller.
Aye.
Alderperson Lytle.
Aye.
Alderperson Swanson.
Aye.
Alderperson Tucker Long.
Aye.
Alderperson Weiss.
Aye.
All right, we will convene in the conference room in closed session. Okay, it is 8:33 PM, and we are back on the air. Does anyone have any topics to add in open session for this one? I'll just say myself that we are continuing negotiations, and we expect to have news in the future. With that, I will move on to item 13, which is adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Alder Hoax. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Halke. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we are adjourned at 8:33 PM.